Welcome to Money Talks with Ayanna Smith, the show where you will learn and hear about practical things pertaining to money. Grab a pen and a notebook and stay tuned for a power-packed show. It's time to learn, grow, save, invest, repeat.
Well, hello. Welcome to Money Talks with Ayanna Smith. Listen, I tell you, when you are really trying to push and move forward, just know sometimes you will get stuck. Things will try to stop you and hinder you, but don't let that deter your goal, your time, and the things you need to do. So I'm excited because I wanted to jump in, of course, at our appointed time, but there were a few little technical difficulties, but I said it won't stop me. When you see it, you will jump in, chime in, do our call to action, all that good stuff. And who needs to be in the room will be in the money room on this evening. So, again, my name is Ayanna Smith, and welcome to Money Talks with Ayanna Smith. Yes, I'm your host and all of that. And what do I do? I'm going to help to educate you so that you will know, yeah, what's going to work for you. Ask you a few questions, and only you know the answers. And if there's a time that we need to connect to delve into more information, delve into more of your answers to give you a fuller scope, a fuller picture, we can do that always. I'm always down for a good conversation and redirection and solutions and all that stuff. So this is what we're going to do. Okay. So now, time, the money room, all that. You've probably seen all of the announcements and the re-announcements and all that good stuff. So here is where we are. We're looking at reconnecting and talking about this time framework, T.I.M.E. Time, the founding talk. Question: do you know what you really have? Do you know what you really have? We're going to aim to connect and teach and reflect and equip and invite and repeat. And that's the way we're just going to do it. Just conversations, good old conversations, good old fireside chats, so to speak, in that timbre, that tone, that momentum, just doing what we need to do so we can be in the room with one another, building each other up, and doing what we need to do to make things the best for all of us, right? So here we are. Let's see. All right, let's get started. Are you ready? I hope you are. I hope you are ready and chiming in and tuning in. And make sure that you invite someone, refer them, invite them, tell them to come on over to Money Talks with Ayanna Smith because it is on and we are ready to ignite and get some things moving and shaking and some ideas so we can elevate here. Okay. So I'm coming to you. Say hello. Tell me where you're watching from. And if you're catching the replay, put replay in the comments so I know, so I will know that you were here. Okay. And it really feels good for me to be back having conversations because I do love to talk about things that are fun to talk about. And it feels good having these great conversations. And but tonight isn't just another money talks. It's a founding conversation because we're going to begin something new. And I'm calling, excuse me, and I am calling it time. It's time. T.I.M.E. Now, we may be all thinking, or I let me say this. I am thinking Some may be asking, Ayanna, what are you talking about? Ayanna, time for what? Time for what? We're going to get there. I promise we're going to get there. But first, I want you to think about some things. I want you to think about an answer to one question. One question. Answer this. Do you really understand what you currently have protecting the financial life you're building? So let me say that again. Don't answer too quickly. Just think a moment. Do you really understand what you currently have protecting you, protecting your family, protecting your financial life, protecting that financial life that you're building? Do you truly, fully understand what you currently have? Okay. Not, I think I have something at work. Not, somebody sold me something about 7 years ago. Not, my husband handles all of that, or my wife handles all of that, uh, or I have something somewhere. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But the thing is, do you know? Do you know? Do you know? Because tonight we're going to talk about it. Okay. So here's the thing. Before we get into the money, I want to tell you why this conversation matters to me so much tonight. Because, hello, Hope. Hey, Hope. So good to see you. I will tell you why this conversation matters so much to me tonight. Because there's seasons that we're moving forward means knowing when to pause. And we all have to press pause sometimes due to things on our own or things that we don't have any control over, or life happening, or sicknesses, illnesses, and different things of that nature. And professional redirects, recalibrations, regroupings, and all that have things that play a part in what we may do, not do, continue to do, how we move forward and through. So sometimes we have to do that reset. And there are reasons when moving forward means knowing when to pause. And my pause from actively leading financial services conversational stations were intentional. Um, yeah, I've spent you know what? I've spent in this industry, I've spent a decade. That is TEN 10 years. 10 years in the financial industry, the life insurance industry. And after 10 years, I know this: serving people in financial services, whatever the capacity. Some people I know are good friends are tax people and business coaches and all that. But serving people in financial services carries a huge responsibility. Um, there's education, near and dear to my heart. There's strategy, which without it, we can't fully execute what we need to get done. But then there's also an ethical and professional responsibility to make sure that you're prepared to serve people appropriately. You know, we have to be licensed, or we have to make sure that our what we say our continuing education things are all together, and that we're building that muscle and staying abreast of what's going on, so we can be on the cutting edge. And sometimes getting yourself together means you have to stop running long enough to actually get yourself together. So in order to get yourself together, you have to stop long enough to get yourself together. Then can I get an amen with that? Does that make sense? You have to stop long enough to start and keep going. So you got to stop so you can then fling forward. All right. So with that, I took the time I needed. I recalibrated. I hit the reset button. I handled what I needed my attention personally too, and professionally too. And I made sure that when I returned to this conversation, I can return with clarity, confidence, and most of all, intention. And I believe in doing things decently and in order. So now it's time. T.I.M.E. Not time for hype, not time for financial promises, not time for a get rich by Friday type foolishness. Not that. It's time for better financial conversations. So we want to make sure we have better financial conversations. And with that, here's something I've learned here. There are some very successful people who are earning money but don't necessarily understand the financial structure surrounding the money they're earning. Do you know some of those people? Am I some of those people? Could be a question that we may ask ourselves, or looking at our neighbor and ask them, is, are you are you successful but don't necessarily understand fully what the financial structure surrounding that money is needed for you to earn even more and protect what you are earning? So, you can have a degree, we have them. A career, we have them. A business, we have a business. A beautiful home, a beautiful home. Some type of retirement account, employee benefits, and life insurance. And out of that, still not be able to answer, if something happens, what happens financially? We can't answer those questions. We can't answer that mindset. We can't truly uh, come to grips with ourselves and say, I know if something happens to me, exactly what will happen financially. I know it without a shadow of a doubt. And if you do, that's wonderful. And if you don't, that's not an intelligence problem. It is an information problem. You just need to dig in a little bit more, because there is no shame in saying, I don't know. Those three words do not send us to oblivion. I don't know is okay. But here's the thing, once we recognize that we don't know, now we can do something about it. So, are you ready? Are you ready to do something about it? Absolutely. Let's get into it. So, here's something that we can do when we're talking about doing something about it. We're not beginning this new season by asking about, what product should I buy? There's so many different things out there. We're beginning this season with, what problem am I trying to solve? So that's a much better financial question. What problem am I trying to solve? What is the best thing that I need to do right now for my financial situation? I've thought about it a little bit. I've thought about it a lot. I've not thought about it at all. But anyway, we're starting right now. So this is what I need you to do. Grab a piece of paper. Yes, I'm serious. Grab a piece of paper. Get you a piece of paper. If you're watching the replay, take a moment, pause this, get a piece of paper, and not necessarily your device, your electronic device, but let's get a piece of paper, because there are some there, and I don't want to get all into deep stats and all that good stuff, but when we write pen to paper, it truly helps to lock in what we're writing down. It helps us to ingest it and digest it and to process it in a better fashion. So I'm still an educator. I still am serious about making sure that we have ingested, yes, ingested, so that we can digest what we need to, as far as information to excel and move up. We want to make sure that we know what we're talking about, and that we give our brain a fighting chance to effectively learn and effectively discern what we have to get as we're looking at this acronym TIME. So with that being said, make sure, get you a piece of paper and let's get busy. Okay. So Write these 4 letters vertically. I want you to write. Now, do I need to get a chart, a chalkboard? You know what? I think that the next time I need to get that chalkboard out and get that going. But you know what? Here's the thing. You won't stop me here. I bet you I'll do this right now, just like I'm pointing at my kids. We have T.I.M.E. Now I hope everybody can see this. You should be able to see this. T.I.M.E. Yes, I got my chart out. Get your chart out. Get your chart out. Yes, yes, yes. Get the chart, get a little piece of paper, and write T.I.M.E. vertically. Okay. And we're going to look at this and perform a simple personal financial check. Okay. So we're going to call it this: Time Financial Protection Conversation. Let's go. You ready? Okay. So T is going to stand for today. 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 See, simple spelling, simple spelling. Just a simple spell. Today. All right. Today. You got that. The I. I'm making this. I know you said, oh my goodness, this is so elementary. Yes, because I'm really a simplistic, bottom line to the point type person. I want everybody to get and understand what we're talking about. So T stands for today. Where are you financially today? Write that down. Only you know where you are. Not where you were 10 years ago, not where you're hoping to be 5 years from now, but today, right now, at the time that you're viewing this, at the time that this broadcast is hitting your ears and hitting your eyes. Ask yourself, what income comes into my household? What are my major financial obligations? So ask yourself, what comes into my household monetarily? What are my major financial obligations? Then, what emergency resources do I have? What am I doing for retirement? Or what have I done for retirement? What life insurance do I have? What coverage do I have through my employer? And most importantly, do I understand, which is the overarching question of this lesson tonight? Do I understand what I currently have? And put a star beside that one if you understand what you currently have. Because here's the thing: if you can't create a meaningful strategy around information, you're not going to be, well, I would say this: if you don't know the answers to these things, you cannot create a meaningful strategy around the information. You can't create a meaningful strategy around information you do not know. And there's no judgment here, none whatsoever. None. Because we're taking inventory. We're taking inventory so that we can take territory. And the only way we can take inventory is to account for what we have and what we do not have, and then getting the clarity before correction. So somebody put in the comments today, put today, Today, in the comments. Okay. Put today in the comments. Put today in the comments. So that's the T for the in the time acronym. In the time framework, it's time. The T stands for today. All right, you ready? And of course, make sure that you watch this on the replay and go back and ask the questions and look at them again and lock in. So now, just a few more moments as we push a little further. Let's move on to the I. If you're good with the T, let's give some ones in the comments. If you're good with the T and you've gotten that, is standing for today. Let's move on to the next section of time, and that stands for, drum roll, interruptions. I stands for interruptions. I stands for interruptions. And this is where the conversation gets real. Okay, are you ready? Here's the question: what could interrupt the financial life you're building? What could interrupt the financial life you're building? Here's some of the things that can. Premature death can. It's so sad that different things are going on all around us and our loved ones and friends, and we're seeing, oh my goodness, makes me kind of emotional. Some of our close family friends, and we see young people that I don't even know, but my heart still goes out to them, out to their families, because that's an interruption. Premature death is an interruption. Illness can be an interruption. Absolutely. Um, Personally, been fighting with illness for a few weeks to a month. It's really been interesting. And those interruptions can set you back and throw you off. And throw you off not only where we conceive things first mentally, conceive an ideal, and before we can execute it, we think about it first, and then we're able to work on executing it. But it's a little bit more difficult to execute something when you have the interruptions. So, and especially if it's the interruption by illness. Illness can interrupt us. Disabilities can interrupt us. Loss of income can interrupt us. A business disruption can throw us off and interrupt us. Life transitions can interrupt us. And here's the thing. Here's the question. Here's the question that I'm going to ask you. And when we say interruptions, INTER, what? RUPTIONS, as I did with the T and the for the today. I do want to go back and make sure that I hit the I, interruptions. Okay. So let's make sure that as we're looking at that and listening, here is the question. All of these things can interrupt the financial life you're building: premature death, illness, loss of income, family emergencies, so forth. But here's the question. If your income stopped tomorrow, how long could your financial life continue operating the way it operates today? Only you know that. That is not striking or trying to invoke fear. That is not trying to invoke gloom and doom. That's financial awareness. And our grandparents, I believe to a large degree, understood this, and they called it this: preparing for a rainy day. Who's heard that before? Who's heard preparing for a rainy day? They called it preparing for a rainy day. And here's the thing: grandma didn't have a podcast. Grandma wasn't making reels. Grandma didn't have 17 financial apps on her phone. Shoot, grandma didn't even have a phone. What in the world? Okay. What was the phone? This thing? Oh, no. Slab, flip, slide, fold, none of it. Grandma or grandpa didn't have what a thing. I remember, quick story inserted here. I remember my grandmother talking about when the actual telephones came about, where you actually pick up the phone, hello, with the cord on it, dial tone. For those of you who may remember that, she told me, she said when that was introduced, she actually was scared of the phone. So no, nobody had a cell phone. Some people, our elders, are even struggling to use that. So nobody had that. So you had to prepare in another way, because grandma knew one thing: eventually it rains. So financial wellness isn't living afraid of the rain. It's asking, where's my umbrella? Boof, where's the umbrella? That's what I was like. Where's the umbrella? So moving on with that, we have today for T and I, interruptions that we must go through, we will have. And now we're moving on to the M. The M standing for MONEY. Money, standing for money. The M and time stands for money. But tonight, I'm not asking you about how much money you make. That's not the for let's say the forefront, not the question in the forefront. I'm asking, what financial resources do you currently have working for you? Do you currently have savings, employer retirement, 401ks, 403bs, pensions, IRAs, business assets, property, life insurance, gold and silver? Do you have some people are into stocks and different currencies? What do you have? Other resources, what do you have? And of course, especially specifically, want you to do a little homework here around this life insurance. This is your homework piece. Find your policy information. And I want you to do 4 things. How many things did I ask you to do? 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, 4, 4, 4, 4 things. 1, what type of coverage do I have? How much coverage do I have? Who are my beneficiaries? Is my coverage personally owned, employer sponsored, or both? So let me go back really quickly. And if you need some clarification on this, just let me know. What type of coverage do I have? How much coverage do I have? Who are my beneficiaries? Is my coverage personally owned, employer sponsored, or both? I'm not telling you to cancel anything. Okay, so please don't say, oh, Ayanna told me to cancel XYZ. And no, please don't cancel anything. I'm not telling you to replace anything. I'm not telling anybody or everybody or anyone that if you're watching this, everybody needs the same type strategy, because we don't know what you may need, because everybody is different. Everybody's situation is specific to them. But here's the thing. Since I am not telling you to cancel anything, replace anything, and not saying that it's a one size fits all I'm telling you, all I'm asking you to do is check on so that you will know what you have. It's all about knowing what you have, because having a financial product and understanding your financial strategy are 2 very different things, because what you have may not be the strategy that you need. Okay, I'll let that just sit. What you have may not be the strategy that you need. All right. So, going into our descent here with the E in time, we are utilizing it to say, here we go, here we go, here we go. End game, the end game, the end game. The E in time is for the end game. And I hope you can see that. So I hope you have written those 4 things down. T.I.M.E. and the end game, as we're going into our descent on this lesson in the money room here. What do you ultimately want your money to accomplish? That's the question. That's the question. What do you ultimately want your money to accomplish? That's the question. That's a personal question. Maybe it's retirement. Maybe it's protecting a spouse. Maybe it's leaving something for your children, something for your grandchildren. Maybe it's protecting a business. Maybe you're starting over at age 45, 50, 55, or 60. Maybe, just maybe, you simply want to stop feeling like one financial emergency could knock everything out, flat blasted sideways. Yeah. Your end game doesn't have to look like mine. And my end game doesn't have to look like somebody else's. But the thing is, we need to know what our end game is. So you need to know what yours is. Because here's the thing, when you know the destination, you can begin evaluating whether the financial tools you currently have are even going to actually help you move the needle and push you toward your end goal. What's your end goal? What is your end goal? So here's the thing, that's time. T.I.M.E. Today, interruptions, money, Endgame. And I want to know, question, how many of you can already see one area you need more clarity? One area, just one. You don't have to tell me your financial business in these comments. Not at all. Just type, I need clarity, or just inbox me. I need clarity. I need clarity. Okay. That's it. I told you, no judgment zone here. So now let me bring this home to my primary professional lane. And of course, you all know it's the life insurance area. That's my overarching place I land, which is the financial space. But I need you to know, as its foundation, life insurance is going to help address the financial risk associated with the death of an insured person, subject to the terms of the policy. So here we are. All life insurance is not designed the same way. It's not designed the same way. There's term life insurance, there's forms of permanent life insurance, there are forms of permanent policies that accumulate cash, some doesn't accumulate cash and all. But yes, during this money talks season, we're going to have educational conversations about um, index universal life policies, commonly called the IUL. And I know you've heard those, some of these different terms being put out here, but I need you to hear me. I need you to hear me. I want you to have the best thing for you. But I am not here to tell everybody that everybody needs an IUL. No, great strategy. Yes, absolutely. An amazing strategy. But no, everybody may not need that. Different people have different circumstances, different needs, different budgets, different goals, different health considerations, different bottom line uh, time horizons, all that. And IUL is here a type of strategy, a type of strategy that varies in cost and all that good stuff that needs to be understood. So before we're going to get started and pushing and all and this and that and we're not here to chase the hype. We're here pursuing clarity. So I want you to understand, I can talk to you about these things that are going to make sense for you and to you, but I want to make sure it is the best thing for you. So it's not about all of the different strategies we can get into. Is about understanding what do I need and how I'm going to make sure that pulls me to the best thing in shaping my financial future and my financial bedrock. Okay, so here we are, and I'm going to say, I said all that to say this. This brings me to something new. Now, I've been thinking about the people who watch Money Talks, and I think it made me think, Ayanna, I need more than a Facebook Live. Okay. All right. Maybe you have questions. And when I talk to people, sometimes they say, yeah, I did have a question about XYZ. I wanted to hear more about this. I wanted to hear more about that, because these are the things we need to know about. Okay. All right. Maybe you have questions. Maybe you don't understand your policy fully. Maybe you're embarrassed to admit, and it's okay. Maybe you're embarrassed to admit that there's some financial things that you want to tune up on. You may have never learned them, so you want to tune up. You've heard something about them. You think you kind of know, but you want some more clarity. Or maybe you just don't want to put your personal financial business in these comments, which I understand that. And listen, don't don't you put your personal information in these comments. Um, Facebook or Instagram or YouTube or 1 2 YouTube 3 2 4 2. No, they don't need to know everything. Some conversations need a smaller room. Seriously, they need one. So I'm creating one. Okay, so are you ready? I'm creating a smaller room. It's called the Time Money Room. Are you ready for that Time Money Room? So I'm envisioning this. I'm envisioning a small private Zoom experience where we can have deeper financial wellness conversations. How about that? Not hundreds of people, not the overload, just a small founding group, a group of grassroots men and women. Is just we can just break it down and ask the questions. Where a place you can learn, do some financial homework, and say, Ayanna, I don't understand this, without feeling embarrassed, because smart people have financial questions. Successful people have financial questions. Educated people have financial questions. Entrepreneurs have financial questions. Professionals have financial questions. And educators have financial questions. And questions don't make you financially foolish, but refusing to ask them keeps you financially uninformed. So we want to change that. We want to change that and make it where you feel empowered and not uninformed. And refusing to ask the questions keeps you financially uninformed. So we want to change that. We want to change that. So I'm not asking you to buy anything tonight. I'm simply putting out a feeler. I want to know who's in the room. If a small, okay, who's in the room? So this, I'm gonna ask you this: who's in the room? I want to know who's in the room, and then I want to know this: if a small private time money room sounds like something you would like to learn more about, here's what I want you to do. Type in all caps T.I.M.E. Type time in the comments. That's it. Nothing else. T.I.M.E. It doesn't obligate you to buy anything, purchase anything, none of the sorts. It just tells me simply, Ayanna, when you open the founding group, I want the information. That's what it tells me. And I can zip back to you in your inbox, acknowledge that you put time in the comments, and zip to you a way to get the information to you. And I know, and then I'll know exactly what you're talking about. Then this, or if you don't want to put it in the comments, say, I don't even want to do that. Ayanna, shucks, I don't want to do that. Just type Time Money Room. Send me a message. Send me a private message. You could DM me or wherever you are viewing this, whether it's LinkedIn or you're looking on YouTube or you're looking on Facebook. Type Time, T.I.M.E, Time Money Room, and I'll know exactly what you're talking about. And in that way, we can start small. We can learn and together, we can grow together. We're going to ask better questions. And then when someone's situation requires an individual conversation, that's when we'll move from the group setting into a private time financial protection conversation one on one, because some questions belong in the classroom and then some questions belong across the table. And that's how I like to look at it. We can ask generically, but then it has to get down to specifics. And here's what we do. We're looking for a few, looking for a few good men. But I want you to think about it. And of course, if you are ready to learn more, Time Money Room, direct message me and type that in there. And then we'll go forward with that. And so here's the thing. Let me leave you with this tonight, today in the morning, whenever you're watching this, watching the replay. I want you to know you don't have to know everything about money. You do not have to understand every insurance term. It takes years to understand different things. You don't have to figure out everything at one time. You don't have to have it all figured out. Please dispel that. But here's the thing. You do have to have a responsibility to understand what's protecting the life you're working so hard to build. So I need you this week. Find your information. Look at your coverage. Check your beneficiaries. And then ask yourself this. Ask yourself, what could interrupt my financial life? And then I want you to define your end game. That's T.I.M.E. Today. Where am I today? What interruptions can come into my life? What is my money strategy? And what's my end game? That's our time check, T.I.M.E. That's our time check. And remember, our new rhythm. We're going to announce, teach, and continue. We've announced. Tonight we taught. And baby, you know what? We are going to continue. Now, I want you to remember, if you, as we wrapping this up, if you want more information about the Founding Time Money Room, put time in the comments or send me a private message. I'm Ayanna Smith. This is Money Talks with Ayanna Smith. And remember, there's no hype. We're going to ask better questions. We got practical education going on here, appropriate solutions, and conversations that are going to be better and better so that we can get a clearer, more clarified understanding of what we are building and protecting. It's time. T.I.M.E. And remember, money is always talking, even if we aren't talking about it. And I just want to leave you with this, as we're doing this, say money is always talking. Say money is always talking, even if we aren't talking about it. And this is the thing. Keep this thing locked in. 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 T.I.M.E. Clarity. T.I.M.E. Make sure that you comment time or you privately message me, Time Money Room. And after this, don't disappear. Don't disappear after this broadcast. Don't disappear after the broadcast. Tomorrow begins with more comments and all that good stuff. Just make sure that you are thinking about this thing, thinking about how can I make it better? How can I make it better? How can I make my life better? Because time is something that we can't get back, but it's surely something that we can make the best of. So good night, everybody. I'm going to see you next time on Money Talks with Ayanna Smith. Remember, money is always talking, even if we aren't talking about it. Yes. Have a great evening. Be well. Be well. And I look forward to seeing you soon out here in this money time. It's time. Money Talks streets. Thank you.